Welcome to the Massage Business Success Podcast. My name is Amy Bradley Radford, and I help solopreneurs just like you learn how to do it all. I teach you how to earn $60,000 a year or more at the table, while also providing you with the continuing education you need to be successful without burning yourself out. I'm a board-certified massage therapist and have been practicing massage therapy for over 30 years, and I'm a nationally approved continuing education provider for over 20 years. I had my monthly business column in Massage Magazine called Advanced Business Strategy for many years, where I was able to share all kinds of tips about how to have a successful business with business owners just like you. I have also developed the Pain Patterns and Solutions modality, where we learn how to apply non-inflammatory therapeutic massage techniques to create real pain relief that lasts. Now, if you're ready to help your clients and make money at the same time, let's dive in. Well, welcome everybody to the Massage Business Success Podcast. I am your host, Amy Bradley Radford, and today we're going to talk about what it really takes, the how, to create a loyal repeat client. So let's just start out with this little chat today with some things that I have observed or I hear from therapists and what they talk about when it comes to getting a repeat client. So some of the statements I've seen on like social media or I've overheard in conversations in groups at events or classes, or even from some of the people I coach. This is what everybody kind of thinks in their mind as they're trying to build their business and they don't know how to get clients to come back to them. And so I hear things like, I just need to find someone who's invested in their health, that wants to spend money on themselves and me, or it just takes time to help someone feel better, so they have to stick with massage for a while and then they will see how it benefits them. Or I hear people say, I think I'm going to build a membership program, and then people have to use their massages every month because we all love to be forced to get a massage, or they're going to lose their investment. Or I can get people in the door, they just don't seem to want to reschedule, and I'm not sure how to get them back on the table. Or what about this one? I ask people to reschedule, but they tell me that they don't have enough money or can't commit because of work or time issues. And it's basically just a exit stage left and nobody knows what's, I don't want to tell you that I don't want to come back is what that boils down to. But, I could keep going. But the bottom line here is there is a disconnect between the therapist and the desire of the client to repeat the massage service. There's a gap. Something is happening where what you're offering as a massage therapist isn't quite matching up with what the client wants. And so they're not going to keep giving you a chance and spending the money to see if you can finally get it right. And that's why they don't come back. So I'm going to tell you that getting a repeat client doesn't have anything to do with how you sell your services or your hours of operation or seeking out the people who are more invested in their health than others. Getting a repeat client is so easy. I know that sounds crazy, but it is. It's so easy when you understand how to meet the client's expectations about massage. And for those of you that have been around me or following me for a while, you hear this a lot from me because it's almost like I preach it. You have got to understand what your client wants in order to meet what they want, in order to meet their expectations with massage therapy. So we're going to talk quite a bit about expectations, but by the end of our time together today, with the little bit that you've listened to, I know you can take this information and put it to work immediately in your business, and you are going to see things change. You're going to see people want to get back on your table. You're going to have people ask before the massage is even over when they can come back to you again, which really makes you feel good about what it is you're doing, and it helps to improve your business and keep things moving forward. So I'm going to tell you a little story. In 2015, I received a phone call from the editor at Massage Magazine. Now, it sounds really funny because it came across on my phone and it was a out-of-state phone number, so I hung up. I answered it and hung up, and they called right back and said, well, this is, the editor from Massage Magazine. We were wondering if you would want to write an article on client expectations. And so I was kind of blown out of the water because I don't really write. I'm not really a writer. My least favorite subjects in high school were math and English, but I'll tell you what, I have learned how to run businesses and write. Not the best writer, but I'm sure trying. But they gave me an opportunity. That opportunity came from a blog post that I had written about this exact same stuff I'm going to talk to you about today. So, what are expectations? And, I'm going to take it a step further and talk about expectations in regards to massage therapy, because that's taking expectations just a titch further, and I'll explain how it works. But for the client therapist relationship, you have to understand something very important. And if you actually put yourself in the situation of the client, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So every person that comes to get a massage from you already has an idea of what they want that massage to do for them. They have this image in their head. They can smell the essential oils, they can hear the music, the table's warm. They just have this whole movie in their head about what massage is going to feel like, look like, and they have a very specific feeling or need attached to this whole expectation dream massage that they've got going on inside their head. And what they are hoping for is that you are going to create that experience for them. And when you do not create that experience for them as they see it in their mind, you don't have a repeat client. But if you do create that experience for them as they see it in their mind, that client will come back to you, and they will continue to come back to you as long as you continue to create that experience of massage that's already inside their head. See, that's expectation. That is what people are looking for, is the stuff that's in their head that they don't necessarily tell you about, and they expect you to be a mind reader and then give them a massage that feels like whatever's inside their head. And so now our podcast is over. End of story. You understand how to get a repeat client. Just kidding. We actually need to break this down a little bit for you, because getting the information out of somebody's head about their expectations takes a little bit of finesse, and it takes a little bit of trial and error. And I'm going to jump you through the hoops so that you don't have to sit and try to figure this out like I did in the beginning of my business, because nobody really talked about this. So here I am talking about it. So repeat clients don't have anything to do with the latest class you took, or marketing that you're pumping money into, or what kind of essential oils you use or don't use, or if you offer hot towels, or nothing. Yes, all of those services can be things that people want, but what clients really want is for you to take your massage skill set and apply it in such a way as to create the result that they are looking for. So, in my opinion, to be a successful massage business owner and therapist, we should actually be having hours of training in massage school about communication and types of communication and how people communicate, or maybe even a little psychology and what people can expect out of massage and how to explain expectations to your client and yourself. And then taking all of those pieces and understanding how to design a massage flow around those things, because that is what every client wants. But you know what? Most of the time we don't. We learn about marketing and business plans, and we're being taught about how to market, massage therapy like on paper, but we're missing how to actually translate what people want into our hands and then back to them. So massage is very different. And we build our businesses with our hands. Our touch, our professional touch, is what sells our business. And how you organize and design your skills around what the client wants is what builds your business. There's another article I wrote for Massage Magazine, and it was called The Cookie Cutter Massage Syndrome. And what it boiled down to is this: if you have a massage flow that you practice in massage school and you're really good at that massage flow, but you're unwilling to adapt it to what each client wants, then you're going to have to go through a lot of clients before you're going to find the clients that want your massage flow. But you don't have to go through hardly 50 clients if you're willing to take your massage flow and break it up and put it back together and reorganize it for every single person that comes to your table and design and tailor that massage for them. It's so much easier to get clients that way than it is to try and get the masses in until they all meet your massage flow. So it's about being adaptable and knowing how to adapt and why to adapt and when to adapt and what people are really wanting from all of that. Your skills have to be you have to be able to break the massage up in your mind and reorganize it for the person on the table and create a touch experience for everybody that walks through the door. Touch is such an interesting thing. Touch is a language. When people touch you, there's feelings behind it, and those feelings are interpreted into statements or words inside your mind. And so when you're a massage therapist and you're employing professional touch, you have to be able to convey, like a mirror, back to the client what it is they want to feel. So when you understand what they want to feel, your client wants to feel, and you can figure out how to take that knowledge and put it back out through your hands, that's meeting a client's expectations. You have to be a mirror of what it is the client wants to feel like. And so when you have finished touching that client, this is also another thing that you leave this feeling behind, and that's what people are wanting to purchase, is the feeling at the end of the massage that you have left behind. And that feeling will either fit their expectations or it won't. And if it fits, they come back. And if it doesn't, they're going to give you all those excuses that you've heard about why they can't come back to see you. And when you can get this right, and I'm speaking from experience because I remember in the beginning when I started out doing massage, how it was haphazard. Sometimes it felt like, the stars aligned and everything clicked and the client was happy, and then they rescheduled with me, and then I'd have other people come in and I just didn't do whatever it was right. And they would say, "Oh, I'll call you later." So that's the difference. And I have often said that massages are such a complicated form of art, because when you can listen to what the client says, interpret it through your own filters, select what tools you're going to create with, and then relay that information back to the client in a form of touch that has no perceived value other than what the client perceives and has no physical form after you're done, it's invisible. Well, there's expressive art to a T. And then we throw healthcare in with all of that, and that's a whole nother ball of wax of expectations, but that's for another time. So let's just go back to expectations. If your client is coming in to receive a massage session from you, and now they have something specific in their mind they want the massage to do for them, it is in your best interest to get as much information about their expectations as possible before you start touching them. And I say before because it is so extremely important to have all of this information out in the open before you ever start the massage. And why? And I know some of you have felt this or have found yourself doing this, or have even extended your massage sessions in order to accommodate because you figured this out after the person got on the table. But it is hard to shift what you're doing halfway through this art form that you're creating, because you all of a sudden figured out what your client really wanted after you started. So the client only got a half hour of their expectations met instead of an hour. So it is so important that you get this information and you actually validate what it is you're hearing and feeling, and tell the client, this is what I'm hearing, this is what you want, this is the massage I'm designing. Is this truly what you want? And let them work around and move pieces around for you so you're closer to meeting their expectations. Because I'm here to tell you that if you can even meet 50 or 60% of their expectations, they'll come back to you. It's when you're not meeting them at all, or you didn't meet them enough, like maybe 20%, they're not going to pay for that again. They're not going to. They're not going to give you a second chance. You got to get this right the first time. So I'm going to kind of teach you how to get it right the first time. So I believe there are 6 questions to ask your massage client before the massage to create this loyal repeat client. And some of these questions I think you already ask, but I just kind of want to go through them, and then I'm going to tell you how I came up with them. And then I'm going to kind of talk about how you can start using them today, tomorrow in your massage business to create a huge difference and get more people come back to you in your schedule, because that's the bread and butter of our businesses. We've got to have people coming back to us and stick with us for the long run. As a bonus for listening to this podcast, I have created a PDF that has the exact chart of these 6 questions, plus some extra information about each of the questions so you have a better understanding of how to use them. And you are welcome to download and start using this chart with your clients today. That link for that PDF and that chart is included in the podcast description below. Now, let's go over what each of those 6 questions are and how to use this information to design a massage for your client's expectations. So the 6 questions are, have you ever had a massage before? Yes or no? The next one, circle your intent for massage, and that is whether it's relaxation, stress reduction, pain reduction. And then on this form, it also says, in order to personalize your massage, what percentage most likely fits the need of you and your body? And there's like 6 or 7 different ways that people can say, I want relaxation 100%, pain reduction 100%, 50-50, or I want to relax 80% and have 20% pain reduction, or I want 80% pain reduction and 20% relaxation. But the bottom line is it starts to make people design their massage based on what it is they want. And how they circle these things actually teaches you a ton about what the client wants their massage to feel like. And then the next question is, what is your current pain level? Because as we all know, inflammation really changes what we're able to do at the table, or how the body accepts the work that we do, or what type of skill set we choose to work with for that person to benefit them the greatest. And then this is my favorite one, because this is a make it or break. So if the only thing you hear today is this question number 5, then take this and run with it. But if someone were to come up behind you and start rubbing your shoulders, what depth of pressure would feel good and comfortable? And there's a pressure scale, 1 to 10, just like the pain scale, 1 to 10. And where people circle this talks about expectation to the greatest degree of any of the questions inside these 6 questions. And then the last question is, what results do you want to receive from your massage session? And this just gives a place where people can kind of write out what it is they want, like exactly, and you get to see if their expectations are unrealistic. You get to have a conversation about what they wrote. You get to ask more questions about, the specifics that they put down. And it actually gives you a platform to say, hey, this is sometimes resetting their expectation. That's a huge one. Resetting their expectation to be in line with what you can really offer. A great example of that is, some 50 or 60-year-old guy that's had back pain for 30 years and they come in for a massage one time and want it all gone. Well, it doesn't work that way. I wish it did. We'd all make a lot more money if we were that successful. But being able to set the expectation and be more realistic also helps people be a repeat client, helps them come back because now they know what to expect a little bit. So I want to talk to you about how I kind of came across all these questions and when I put them together and when I turned them into a class and why I did what I did. But I remember when I started building my massage business, I already explained a little bit of it, and some of you feel this way. Sometimes you get it right and sometimes you don't, and you don't really quite understand what the secret sauce was and all of that. How did I put all my skills together right for this one person, but it seemed like I was swimming upstream with this person? What is it that I didn't do in order for that person to want to come back? And I took it kind of personally in the beginning of my massage career because I just didn't understand. I was 19 years old. I just didn't understand what expectations really were. And I mean, when you get out of massage school, you're heading into practice. It's like you got the basics and you get thrown out there and say, here you go and figure it out. At least that was my experience. And I needed a lot more table time to be confident in my skills on top of building a business, on top of trying to sort out, what clients wanted. And it took me probably 2 years before I started to kind of get the hang of something. And that getting the hang of it was, oh, when somebody says this, they really mean this. Or, oh, when you say that you want this kind of pressure, it means that you actually don't want to be hurt, but you need, controlled pressure. Or I just started to learn what the things were that people were describing and how they described them and how sometimes they described them in a negative way that was just telling me about their touch experience in their life. And I began to start to understand what those phrases meant, or how people were asking for things in ways that it wasn't really straightforward, but it was consistent from person to person. And that's kind of how I developed these questions. And I remember watching, there was a couple of women I went to massage school with, and they had, they were much older than me. They had all been in the service industry, whether it was a waitress or a tour guide or something like that. And they just seemed to click with people better. So I thought it was customer service, But it was no different than what I learned in my first 2 years of business. They just learned how to read people better. And when they could read people better, they could provide a better service. This particular concept about these 6 questions is teaching you how to read people better and giving you the tools to know how to read them. When I put this questionnaire together and this class, at the time I put it together, I was running a massage school at the ripe old age of 26, and I was the clinic supervisor, and I was finding it hard to get a repeat clientele for my students in school, even for a $25 massage. And so I sat down one day frustrated because we didn't have enough people coming in and too many free massages were going out the door just so people could get their hours. And I really sat back and I thought about all of the things that I understood about customer service and the nuances of clients and what they wanted and how to kind of glean and pull this information out so that the students could actually start designing massages. Really, it should have been called, design your massage flow class, and communication, so that they knew how to ask the right questions, how to communicate with the client, even with their skills, 50% trained. Even with those skills, how can you take those skills and be successful? Because I knew from experience that if a client got the right kind of pressure that they wanted, and you were able to address the areas that they wanted, or you were able to create that ambiance and that Calgon take me away sort of a feeling. I knew if you could create that, you didn't have to have a ton of hours. You just had to know that that's what the client wanted. So I sat down and I worked on this, and the class and I worked on it together, and we had a lot of really great discussions about it, and so many amazing points that were brought up from the perspective of a learning student versus a therapist that's been in this for 8 years, and you kind of forget about the things. It was such a really great cooperation to put these pieces together. But in the end, we came up with 6 questions, and as the students learned how to deduct information out of all of these questions, and these questions led them to being able to ask better questions with their clients. Within about 2 to 3 weeks, our clinic schedule was packed. People were coming back. I had to create some new rules in the school where you could only go to see one therapist 4 times, because the point of clinic was to have experience with different bodies. And you would get these clinic clients that found somebody that listened so well and met their expectations so well as a student still training that they didn't want to leave them. And they had a hard time moving on to the next one until they realized that these questions that the students were asking could also turn around and help them create that same massage flow. And the clinic clientele learned that all of these students, most of them could meet their expectations just by utilizing these questions. And so I turned this class into something called Defining Your Client's Expectations. And now it's called Massage Your Market, because it kind of brings massage and marketing all together into one thing. And this is a business class, actually, that takes touch and turns it into something much more profound and sellable, is what it does. And it's so funny when I teach this class to therapists, and I get older therapists in the class, and I get younger therapists in the class. And I don't mean age, I just mean years of time in this career. When I talk about some of these things, it's so funny to see the seasoned massage therapists just shaking their head like, yep, I know exactly what you're talking about. And these newer therapists are just taking notes like crazy, because all of this information really starts to make sense about things that you have felt but couldn't translate into words, but now you understand how to ask the questions in order to get the information from the client, or you understand what the client's not telling you that could alter what it is you do in a massage. So let's just talk a little bit about these 6 questions and how they work together. And we're going to call it Massage Designing 101. So the first question is, have you ever had a massage before? Yes or no? This is such a double-edged sword sort of a question, because if somebody puts no, these clients are usually fairly easy to meet their expectations, because they don't really know what to expect. And sometimes that's a good thing and a bad thing. But if somebody marks no, then you have to take the time to teach your client before the massage about expectations and about massage therapy and what it can realistically do for them, and how they can ask for things that they like, and how they can tell you about what they don't like. And it's all the things, but they don't know. You do. as the therapist, but they don't know as the client. And this is about education. So this very first massage has a titch more education in it than perhaps somebody who has already had massage. But if the person says yes, this is going to be an interesting situation. If you find this person on your table and they live in the same town as you and they're coming to see you and it's not a gift certificate and it's not a one-time massage, they're looking for a therapist because their expectations have never been met. So just by knowing that, yes, they've had a massage before means that you're going to have to really work on getting this person's expectations out of them so that you know how to meet them, because they have a lot of disappointing touch experiences and they're still looking for their perfect expectation to be met. And then in question number 2, there are basically 3 types of massage, and some people can argue with me about this, but this has to do about the needs of the client and not what we understand in our industry is all the different types of massage therapy techniques you can learn. There are 3 needs, and that is relaxation, stress reduction, and pain reduction. And those are very different massages. And when you can pull that information out of somebody, you can understand, number 1, how much you're going to communicate with this person on the table. If somebody wants relaxation massage, they don't want to be talked to. They really don't. They want to check out. And so that right there tells you how much you're going to be talking to this person. And if you're a talker at the table, then it's time to kind of take a step back and close your mouth and let this person drift. Stress reduction has to do with the person on the table is feeling so much pressure inside that they need a certain amount of pressure from the outside to kind of release all of that energy. I call it the squeezing the toothpaste out of the tube. You've got to squish. And that right there tells you what kind of pressure and technique. You got to squish that stress out of there. And the person has got to feel like they've been ironed out flat and there's so much relief on their nervous system that they're going to walk away going, I feel so much better, and they want to come back. And then pain reduction, which I say is the hardest expectation to fulfill, is really going to be about this client who's invested in their health, like we talked about. They're willing to come back. They have very specific needs. They want very specific results, usually unrealistic. They want all their pain to go away. And pain reduction really ends up being a lot of communication and a lot of commitment towards a common goal between you and your client. So that takes on a whole nother spectrum of how you end up scheduling this person and frequency and all those kinds of things. But pain reduction is one of the hardest expectations to fulfill because of what really needs to occur to help this person and what they're willing to pay and the amount of time you have to put into it and those sorts of things. So right there, we have 3 different clients, 3 different needs, 3 different schedules, communication levels, talking, not talking, some talking, pressure, technique, all of that in just those 3 right there. Now let's go on to the next one. And I wish you could see this in front of you, but I don't think you have to. It just talks about those percentages of, do you want 100% relaxation or 100% pain reduction? And one of the things I look at when someone fills out this form, and I have everybody who comes across my table fill out this form every single treatment, because expectations change sometimes from week to week or month to month. And you need to know that, especially if this client has been a client of yours for a long time and all of a sudden they need some stress reduction and you've been working on this pain management issue, but they come in and they don't quite get what they want that day. So it's really important that you understand if things have changed and why for every session, every single session. This makes you a powerful therapist when you do that. Powerful in your own business. But if somebody comes in and they say they want, pain reduction massage and put 100% relaxation, well, that's a conflict of interest. And that gives you a really great conversation piece to have with your client about, well, these 2 don't jive. So tell me what it is you're really looking for. Tell me what you're wanting from me. But unless they put that on a piece of paper, you don't really know that. It's not right in front of you. Some of the things I like about these percentages is, when it comes to having that vision of what the massage will feel like in the mind of the client, it can have simple things like they're expecting you to start on their feet, or they're expecting you to start on their head, or they're expecting you to start on their back or their hand that hurts. And you don't know that. Or they want to have all of this, they want a blend of pain reduction and relaxation, and they actually want to come in and relax first. And you're seeing that they want you to target something in their leg. And so that's where you start, but it doesn't meet their expectation. And so understanding these percentages really teaches you, what I call the dessert or vegetable principle. Do you want to eat your vegetables first, which is the work? It's like pain management, address my problems, and then give me the dessert, which is, just let me check out. Or I need to relax for a little bit so I can let go enough to let you go work on my, that pain area or what I came in for. Because you have some people that are very much like, oh, I don't care what you do. And some people have some very specific outcomes and goals that they want from massage. So this section teaches you how to design the massage flow with intention, direction, and starting points and ending points that it better matches that client's vision of what that massage was like. And when you have somebody who's coming to you from, like, let's say that, yes, they've had a lot of massage, but their massage therapist, moved to another state and they're looking for someone that's like their massage therapist that moved. Understanding some of these things, like where they started, where they ended, how they blended their skills together, really helps you retain that client who's looking for a new therapist. Because in their mind, if that was the only massage therapist they ever had, they think that's how massage has to be. And they're looking for someone who does massage just like the massage therapist that just left. And you can actually do that. You can replicate it if you understand the process that they went through in massage. That's the other thing about clients and massage therapists. The general public thinks we're all trained the same and we're not. And so when they get really comfortable and used to massage being in a specific way where you start the massage and end the massage and the process and the touch and the type of skill sets, and they can't find someone like that, it's really frustrating. But I'm here to tell you that you can teach your clients that while you do massage differently, you can still meet their expectations if you understand what they are. And you are able to have many more clients come to your table because you can take your skills and match those expectations. So the next question, which was, what is your current pain level? This is a really great discussion about inflammation. And in the class I teach, we discuss inflammation heavily. And, the fun thing about using a pain level, a pain scale of 1 to 10 with all of your clients is if a client comes in and they've got a pain level of 7, 8, and they're asking for relaxation massage, you and I both know that that's not necessarily the most effective tool for a pain reduction massage. You've got to have some focused intention, maybe some therapeutic inflammatory techniques, which kind of rough up an area basically, but you're helping the body reapproach that area and help it heal. But that doesn't happen in relaxation massage. So if you have someone that kind of has that, bipolar answer, that's really just the person telling you they don't want to be hurt more. And if they've had a massage before and they want a relaxation massage, but they're in a lot of pain and they really want you to help their neck pain, but they're just telling you they want relaxation, they're not telling you they want relaxation. They're telling you that they want pain reduction and they don't want to hurt for a week afterwards. And they need somebody who knows what they're doing with some controlled pressure and reason behind what it is they're doing. That right there is another story of how people don't tell you what they want or they're afraid of what they need. But if somebody comes in at a 6 or a 7 and they say they want pain reduction and 100% pain reduction, then you better focus 100% of that session on their pain and not do the nice relaxing back massage that you always do with everybody, because that person's going to be saying in their head the whole time they're face down, when are they going to get to my pain? This is ridiculous. I didn't come here for this. Do you see what I'm saying? So the next one is, if someone were to come up behind you and start rubbing your shoulders, what depth of pressure would feel good and comfortable? And, after the students and I played around with this pressure scale, I actually realized that it's like Goldilocks and the Three Bears. There's 3 levels of pressure. There's not 10. But anything outside of these 3 levels of pressure means something. The client is telling you a story. So what I learned was relaxation massage is like a pressure level of 5. Stress reduction is like a pressure level of 6, and pain reduction is a pressure level of 7, sometimes 8, but usually within that area. And every 5, 6, or 7 is different for every single person on your table based on their body, tissue type, size of their body, musculature, male, female, all of those things. And they all mean something different. And I think this is when I was starting out in business, this was the haphazard success that I had when I could finally get the pressure right for the person. And was able to create the change they were looking for. And when I didn't get the pressure right, then the person left unsatisfied one direction or the other. Unsatisfied meaning it was too much pressure or too little or both inside the same session. What I also learned was, so there are two things in this pressure scale I want to tell you. If somebody came in and they wanted pain reduction or stress reduction and they circled a pressure level of 1 or 2, what this person was telling me is they'd been hurt with massage, whether it was, a spouse working on them at home and they've been to other therapists or even PT or chiropractors, but they had left injured and they were trying to get the pain reduction they need without being injured. That's what 1, 2, or 3 meant. And that was a great time to have a conversation because I would look at that. I'll look at that now and say, "Oh, you've been hurt with massage." And they'll say, "Yes, I have. And I want to feel better, but I don't want to hurt." And that's when you can have a great conversation about the fact that the client's in control all the time, and we're going to give you the tools to control the pressure so that you can get the outcome you want, and it's a win-win for both of us. And then if somebody came in and they wanted a pressure level of 9 or 10, nobody wants a massage at 9 or 10. Nobody wants that. What they want is the right pressure, and they've never got it. Because believe me, I can go to 9 or 10 on somebody and it bruises them and leaves them injured. So being able to say, "Oh, well, you've never gotten the depth you want in a massage," they'll be like, "Yeah, no kidding." That's a great conversation piece. And then we're going to take it one step further. And this is where I think you should practice with this week. I take that pressure scale and you begin to understand what people really want and what they're scared of, what they're frustrated with, and what they need. And you can actually take that pressure scale to the table and you can be working on somebody and say, "Hey, is that the pressure level of 6 that you want?" And they'll be like, "No, that's a 3." And in your own mind, you're like, "I'm pushing hard. I figured I was at the 6," and you're not. And that is where true expectation starts getting met. And you can teach your clients how to utilize this pressure scale so you can get to know them and their bodies and what they need. And they can actually guide you from the table to what they really want. Instead of saying, "Hey, how's the pressure? Good, fine." I'm here to tell you if somebody says the pressure's fine, it is not fine. So you can start putting a number to it and really giving the steering wheel to the client and letting them steer you so that the massage has the pressure, the correct pressure to meet the expectations that they want at the table. It's a powerful tool. I think this was the number one thing that really shifted things for my students in the student clinic because you don't understand depth. If you're 3 or 4 months into school, you're just practicing trying to figure out which muscle you're on and make your hands do what they're supposed to do, aside from the depth. So being able to rearrange that depth based on what the client wanted, even if you could only meet it, 50% of the time. That's why I said if you can at least meet it 50% of the time, they'll come back and try again because they felt what they wanted. Now we just need to refine that experience. So that's a really cool tool. It's such a huge communication tool for your clients. And when you get to know your client and they've come back to you enough times, you know what their 6 or 7 is. And if you aren't sure, and you don't have to keep asking, but if you aren't sure, it's way easy. It's way easy to just tweak those little massage design points for each client. And then the last one, what do you want to receive from your massage session? This one, I've seen everything from, heal my plantar fasciitis to, get rid of my chronic bladder infections, to make the knots in my shoulder blades feel better, to get rid of all the pain in my knee. I mean, I've seen all kinds of things, but what they write down, what a person writes down for you, teaches you about their expectations. And it's a great time for you to reorganize their expectation, meet their expectation, let them know you can meet it, let them know what's realistic with massage. Sometimes if this is a new client, they have really high expectations of massage because they've heard people talk about it. And it's a really great moment for you to take that phrase and break it down. But I'm here to tell you, if this person said, "Make the knots in my shoulder blade feel better," that's the first place you need to touch. I don't care what else is on that form. If you don't touch that person's pain in the beginning, whether it's a relaxation approach or whether it's a pain management approach, that person has to know they were heard. And I think that that is another thing that gets left out because when we get in our routines, or we know that if you get into structural type massage, you want to release the front of the pecs to help the back, that sort of thing. But the client doesn't know that. And the client wants to feel validated. And so you need to touch their pain. You need to touch what they've asked first in order to be able to create the change that is part of your skill set. That is the 6 questions, and that is kind of breaking them down. And yes, there's more nuances. The class that I put together on this, it's 6 hours. It is 6 hours of training. It's some of the best training you'll ever have when it comes to really learning how to communicate about expectations with your clients. But there's that much information behind each one of these questions, because as the years have gone on and I have refined this class in this form, and like I said, I use it at my own table all the time. It was amazing to me how many subtleties or how many ways people would answer these questions that made you think in different ways about how to combine the information that they're telling you. But as you get the hang of using these questions, you will see more and more repeat clients end up on your table. All right, there is how to get a repeat client and the 6 questions behind it. Thank you so much for joining me today on this podcast. And I look forward to you joining our podcast again in the future. Have a great day. Well, hi there, Amy here. I wanted to take a moment and talk to you about a business system I call Launch. After being a business coach for several years, I took what my clients consistently needed and created 3 classes that answer so many of the questions you are probably asking yourself all the time, like, hey, Amy, how do I raise my prices and earn more income? Or where do I find more clients quickly if I need them? Or how do I change my schedule to match my personal life better and move my clients around? Or how do I get more repeat clients? What is the secret to getting those clients to come to you week after week or month after month? We talk about that. Or better yet, how do I run my business better? Launch is the premier massage therapist business training program where I teach you the real secrets to running a successful and profitable business. This isn't a class about what an LLC versus a corporation is or how to pay your sales tax. That's not the kind of business class this is. This is the knowledge you have been looking for to build your business into something absolutely amazing. So this 10 CE hour program teaches you the 2 ways to get clients through your door fast, the stuff that I tell my coaching clients about how to increase the amount of clients coming through their door. And it also teaches you the 6 questions you need to start asking your clients today that help you create repeat clients. And last is the best class of all, and it's called Maximize Your Massage Business, where you learn how to understand your value, how to raise your prices, and grow your business into a streamlined machine that allows you to have the income that you dream of. It is the ultimate step-by-step process for creating referrals, repeat clients, and revenue. To learn more about the Launch Your Massage Business program, visit amybradleyradford.com/launch. Again, that's amybradleyradford.com/launch. See you in the program. Thank you for listening. For more information about classes, products, or coaching, go to amybradleyradford.com. And if you've liked what you've heard, please subscribe and leave us a review.